Hello everyone, my name is Lowko, and today it is time for a professional match of StarCraft 2. Spawning here in the top left-hand corner of Acropolis and playing with the blue Terran SCVs. He's from South Korea, he's on Team Jin Air Green Wings, and he goes by the name of Cure. His opponent in the opposite corner, playing with the pretty pink Protoss Probes. Always nice, a little bit of alliteration in the early morning. Also from South Korea, we're looking inside of the main base of Zest. If I'm not mistaken, from Ocean Gaming? I think that's his team name. I'm not entirely sure. Anyways, Jin Air Green Wings. I would say that's easily the strongest team in StarCraft 2. I mean, some people might make the argument that Team ENCE is the strongest StarCraft 2 team just because they've got Serral, and I believe they've got only Serral. But regardless, Jin Air is an actual proper team as well with multiple members. They've got people like, for example, Maru, who won a couple of consecutive GSL Code S's, arguably speaking, the strongest player in the world outside of maybe Serral. They've got players like Rogue, who won the World Championship Series before Serral did. They've got SOS, who is a two-time world champion, which is extremely impressive as well. And obviously, if you're practicing in that environment and you're working together with some of those teammates, you're bound to be very good as long as you put in the work and you have some talent as well. I do think, though, that a majority of it is just straight up practice, right? I think anyone could be really good at StarCraft, or at the very least, most people could be very, very good at StarCraft as long as they put in the work. And as long as they also start early enough. I mean, a lot of these pros, they start extremely young. Especially over in South Korea, it seems like a lot of guys start playing at a very high level by like age, I don't know, I would say like 16, 17, 18 or so. That obviously means they were playing for years prior to that as well. And I guess that's primarily just because you're much faster when you're younger, right? I mean, it's kind of crazy to think about, and I've mentioned it before, but a lot of pro gamers consider to retire by like age 25. In StarCraft 1, it was even worse, right? I mean, nowadays in StarCraft 2, we do have some pro gamers in their 30s as well. Admittedly, most of those are Protoss players. I mean... I always find that a bit of a funny statistic, but a bunch of the pro gamers do now play throughout their 30s as well, which I think is awesome. But especially in StarCraft 1, though, that game was absolutely brutal. I mean, just walking your units across the map is very hard. I don't know how many of you played StarCraft 1, but if you ever tried moving a maxed out Zergling army across the map when you can only select 12 units at once, that alone costs like 700 actions a minute. Like, I'm not even kidding. It's extremely difficult to do. Plus, units don't really know how to walk very well either. So in that sense, StarCraft 2 is considered to be, I guess, the quote-unquote easy game. Regardless though, looks like it's gonna be a Twilight Council opener right here from Zest. Zest, by the way, recently once again looking extremely strong. On a League he's the current rank 12 in the world, and while the majority of his big tournament victories are already a couple of years ago, he's once again looking on point. I got to cast some of his games over at Home Story Cup, and while he's never been like a weak player, don't get me wrong, he's once again taking games off of the very best in the world. So I'm excited to see how good he is currently, in this game at the very least. Cure is one of those players who's actually very good. So he's the current rank 14 on a League in the world, which obviously puts him amongst the very best in his race. The thing is, though, he doesn't really have the results like you would expect other people to have at this rank. By the way, it's gonna be 4 Hellions right here as well as a Reaper. It takes 3 Hellions to one-shot a probe, so if he gets a couple of these Hellions into the base, that could actually be huge. He's gonna have to very least try, so here we go. Keeping that one Reaper in the front as well is huge. That one soaked up quite a bit of damage. The Sentry falls already, which is very nice. One of the Hellions does take critical damage. But Cure is in the base. He's in the base. He's going to try and see if he can roast some of those workers. Couple of probes going down so far. Looks like the Stalkers will be able to clean this up eventually. And that is 6 probes right there, as well as a Sentry for just 4 Hellions and a Reaper. I think that's one of those trades that you will take any day of the week. Now, okay, Zest is correctly identifying this, though. He's like, okay, if you throw away that many units early on, you're never going to be able to really pressure my third base at all, so just simply start it up right now. Maybe a little bit early. The Banshee is currently going across. The Cloak upgrade will be coming up here as well, but obviously if you go for the 1-1-1, your stim pack is going to be quite late. And I don't think that that Cure can really get too much done right now when it comes to this third Nexus. I mean, he does need to see it. Okay, he does get the glimpse of it. That's very important. By the way, this is one of the main reasons why Blizzard is considering reducing the Stim Pack upgrade research time from 121 seconds to 100 seconds. I made a video recently where I went over the newly announced balance changes to StarCraft 2. I'll go ahead and actually post a link to it in the top right-hand corner of this video as well, with the little eye icon, so you can go ahead and have a look. But long story short, Terran players are essentially always saying that it's very difficult to pressure this third Nexus, right? Now, obviously, this whole build that Cure is going for basically is designed to accommodate a late Stimpack upgrade. The thing is, though, even if you would have decided to go for a Stimpack build, this third Nexus would be as good as done by the time it finished, right? And then he wouldn't have been able to really pressure with those Hellions, and certainly not with those Banshees. So it's very difficult to get any pressure on, and in the meantime, right, for Terran players, they still have to be cautious with the speed at which they expand. I mean, we can have a look right here in the natural. Look, he's playing extremely cautiously, sieging up in the back, not really trying to play all too aggressively. Because if you go for a third base right now as Terran, you're just simply gonna get stalkered really hard. Those Stalkers, they've got Blink. Zest would 100% capitalize on the scenario if that third base was taken a little bit too early. And it's tricky. So this is one of the good examples, I think, as to why a lot of Terran players are asking for a shorter Stimpack upgrade, just so you can pressure this a little bit easier as well. Alright, so the third command center does start up right now, primarily because Cure is pretty happy with the army that he has got going for himself. He does have a couple of good upgrades lined up too. So this is Stimpack, Combat Shield, as well as +1 infantry weapons. The classic Terran timing attack, and I think he's gonna try and probably move out, and at the very least test the waters here in just a little bit. Keep in mind, he did get a good trade early on, killing those workers, and actually a couple of the probes must have gone down here to at least one of those Banshees as well. I think it's the one Banshee that got picked off earlier, but regardless. Yeah, a little bit of damage already done. Does slow down the Protoss quite a bit. Zest did invest into a lot of gateways just now as well, so 6 more are just about to finish up. He got himself the Forge going, and while he did finish up Charge, his army is really not that impressive. There's a couple of Immortals right now as well, but if you get your tank in a good position, like, I don't know, like right over here, for example, or maybe like right over there, and then you hit the rest of the Terran Bio Bull over at the third, you can deal a lot of damage. I love the fact that he mixed in a couple of Widow Mines too. Cure right now confirming the position right there, and there we go. Getting that tank in that spot is going to be very difficult to break. Either has to run a couple of Zealots across the outer perimeter, but at the very least, you're going to have to commit units to it, because this tank is going to shell away for quite some time. Still, though, Cure decides to get quite brave, stims forward, but finds himself backed up against the Terran or against the Protoss all of a sudden because of those force fields. Widow Mine's trying to move forward as well. There's quite a few of those reinforcing this too. One Immortal actually just spawned too, and it's gonna walk around, so it's gonna go after that siege tank that's shelling away on the low ground for so very long. I think that's going to be the end for the Immortal too. Wonder if you don't want to just simply do that with like 2 Zealots instead, but regardless, this Terran army is not slowing down just yet. The siege tank is gone, but there's still a couple of Widow Mines remaining as well, but most of this Protoss army is just going to be Stalkers. Good Blink micro though by Zest keeps the majority of them alive, and I think for all intents and purposes, this push should be held, right? I think. Now, on the back of this, by the way, Terran did get himself their third base up. So Cure is looking really solid here as far as this game goes. Supply-wise, also looking very, very healthy. He's now actually, no, he's not planning to slow down. He's actually gonna go up towards Liberators as well. Once again, trying to bait these Zealots into those Widow Mines too. Only one of them really fell there, but still, this damage is starting to pile on. Mostly just Marauders remaining. Another Widow Mine does join the fray as well. We do see the Robotics Bay right now coming up here for Zest, which means that he does plan on either transitioning towards Disruptors, but more than likely Colossi, as they have been, once again, a little bit more popular in this matchup. And actually, I think Zest forgot that he's got himself a Robotics Bay already inside of the main base. He goes for a second one right there in the natural. Hey, did you guys know that when you have 2 Robotics Bays, your extended Thermal Lens upgrade finishes twice as fast? Did you guys know that? Okay, that was a lie. I'm sorry. Did anyone believe me? I mean, I feel like I'm spreading too many truths on this channel, okay? You guys always troll me in the comment section with, like, the hello everyone's and all that, right? But me saying that everyone is amongst the very best in the world, you guys troll me quite a bit. Did anyone believe me? No, that's not true, guys. The extended thermal lens is still a very low upgrade. Now, good blink forward right there by Zest, actually picking up those Liberators before they manage to deal a lot of damage. This engagement has been ongoing for quite some time. You know what I would love to see? Some double-pronged harass, right? Imagine, like, one Medivac right now into the main base. I think that would be huge. By the way, it is going to be a Colossus, and it is going to be extended thermal lens. Double Robo, by the way, very, very common follow-up, of course. Always a bit of a gamble, though, right? This feels really risky by Zest. I mean, he's been under pressure non-stop, and then he decides to invest about 1 million resources and a second robotics bay into getting 2 Colossi out. Once the Colossi are out, though, this push is as good as health. So that's what he's trying to do right now. He's just trying to buy time. He also never set up any shield batteries over at the third base, which is also quite surprising. 4th command center, by the way, going up here on the left-hand side of the screen. So that means that Cure is looking to continue macroing on here as well. Gets himself +2/+2, start at 2. And actually, I really like this, right? Because even though Zest decided... So this is the thing. Zest decided to go for double Colossi production, which is really nice. And yes, it's going to allow him to hold on here. But it's going to make the longevity in this game very hard because he doesn't start up any of his own upgrades just yet. He's already at +2/+1, so obviously he could just simply upgrade a single one. But he does need to be careful. Once 2-2 finishes here for Terran, he's certainly going to go straight up to 3-3-2. And because Zest is investing so many resources into trying to get these laser giraffes out, he's not going to be able to really continue onwards with that tech very easily. Anyways, Cure, man, relentless with this assault. He's baiting, right? He's inviting the Terran player to go, or the Protoss player rather, to go into these liberation zones. Colossi. Ooh, one of them does get picked off by those couple of Marauders. Once again, the Stalkers target firing down that one Liberator. Stalkers blink forward. They pick up the final Liberator. And finally, after about, what was that? Like 6 minutes of non-stop assault, the Terran player is going to be forced back home. So who came out ahead there? It's a little hard to say, right? So finally, we do see that +2 upgrade, by the way. +3 now also starting up. Very important. It's very easy to forget about those, especially when you're still a little bit worried, but that is very, very important. It's hard to say, honestly, who really came out ahead there. I think it's honestly still the Terran player just because of those small upgrades and because of that 4th base. Normally, it's going to be the Protoss player who's slightly ahead, economically speaking. Right now, Cure does have a slight lead as far as upgrades go. A very minor one, though. That's going to be closed in just a little bit once those fortresses finish researching. But he also has a very nice economy here. It's always a little bit scary to see an even worker count in Terran versus Protoss just because of those mules. I mean, you can see the income right here. Very, very nice for the Terran player. He's got himself just a lot of income in general. And he's not even really landing that many mules now. He could certainly go ahead and land more if he wants to. Alright, so finally a bit of a lull in this game. Now, Colossi, I've got a love-hate relationship with them, okay? They're phenomenal when it comes to just beating straight up bio. Especially marine-based armies and anything that's light, they absolutely burn through that extremely quick. I also like it because some Terran players decide to go straight up into ghosts. And obviously ghosts are phenomenal when it comes to EMPing High Templar and removing them from the equation. They're not very good at EMPing these what are they called? These Colossi, right? Ooh, one Stalker right here. Jumping to its grave. The thing is, Vikings absolutely shut down Colossi. So, you're kind of forced to go Stalker as well, and I don't think Stalkers are going to be that strong the longer that the game goes on. So, you're basically forced to go Stalkers and Colossi together because otherwise the Vikings deal too much. Man, this one pesky Liberator doing so much damage. Anyways, here we go. The Terran player decides to jump on the opportunity. There's a lot of Vikings in the air, and these Stalkers are trying to target fire them down as well. Nice pick up micro there. Oh, did you see that? Zest keeping it alive at like, what, 4 hit points? And all of a sudden, right, with that Viking cloud being shut down, it means that the Protoss can now go on the offensive. +3 though, finishing up here in just a second as well. For the Terran player, is going up to +3 right now. Already saw +3 armor here for Protoss. He's now also finishing up +2. So, you know what? You can actually continue pushing this. Don't want to... No. I don't think you want to go down towards the planetary. I think he actually does want to go right here into the main fight, right? Does he even know about that base? Yeah, he does. Okay, I was going to say. Could be a disaster, actually, if he has no idea. If you're going to be indecisive, though, I think it's probably better to go for the base. Because Terran is really scary when they have that tempo advantage, right? Big warping of sentries, by the way. So he's looking to get some of those juicy force fields. There we go. Beautiful trap. Now that one goes, though. Did you see that? EMPing all of these sentries. That means they're going to be very, very low on energy. And no more force fields for them. Luckily for Zest, they just barely got warped in. But that may very well be the reason that this Protoss army can be pushed back. It's going to be Disruptors right now as a follow-up as well. So the second source of splash damage. Still though, Cure is producing as much as he possibly can, going up to the 3-3 upgrades here. And once Terran, oh my god, once again, massive EMPs! Removing the shields out of so many of these things as well. Hold that thought though, because all of these Vikings now are shutting down the leftover Colossi. The question is there not just simply a little bit too much Protals right now remaining on the ground? With these Vikings joining the fray as well, this is certainly a lot of damage that these Terran units can deal, but there's not quite enough just yet. The Immortals, man, plowing through everything. They've got a lot of kills. They're just simply trying to do their job. Still though, on the back of this, right? Terran does still have the planetary fortress over here. Are the Disruptors scouted? I don't think so. With good micro, Cure can obviously... Oh my god, he's gonna try. He's gonna try and come in from the back. Oh, Purification Nova moving forward, but it's not quite gonna be enough. A second one joining the fray right now too. Marines and Marauders though, some of the most cost-efficient units in the game. One of the Ghosts right there ends up dying amongst the Marauder and those Marines as well. Oh, Immortal jumps into the Prism just barely in the nick of time. Zest really taking care of most of his high-value units. What? No! No! Oh my god, he just killed his own units! That was way too brave. He just Nova'd his own army. That's like me playing Protals right there, dude. Okay, I'm just kidding. I would have lost everything with the first Disruptor Ball, but still. Alright, that was not a very good engagement. And I think actually Zest may have to lay down the pressure a little bit, though. I mean, he wants to test the waters with these Disruptors, right? So they actually got quite a bit of friendly fire done as well. Terran did get this base on the low ground secured, whereas Protals is now trying to secure the base on the right-hand side of the map, just north of the 3rd. The thing is, though, I really like Terran in these, like... Nice pickup. Dude, the pickup micro. It's a theme in 2019 and 2018, right? Players have gotten so good. But I kind of like the spot of the Terran here, right? Because the value that these Marines and Marauders provide, especially with 3-3 upgrades, especially in small-ish armies, I don't mind it whatsoever. There's a lot of Ghosts in this mix as well. Ghosts obviously also benefit from those upgrades. Now, Terran wanted to go for a bit of a push right here on the right-hand side. Maybe try and see if he can go after the Nexus. He doesn't know about the Nexus, but it's a pretty safe assumption right now. It seems to be a theme in Zest's play. Whenever he pushes out, he's also expanding behind. Alright, so here we go. Cure decided to sit back and get himself some more resources. Get himself some more units out as well. We see 2 Colossi joining the Protals army. There's not that much Protals, though. Most of the Stalkers are actually now caught on the northern section of the map. Disruptor trying to get some work in as well. Ooh, good dodges right there. Zest keeping the majority of this army at least decently alive for as long as possible. Prism does end up falling as well. And all of a sudden, right, the Stalkers, they were completely blindsided right there by that small group of medevacs. They were trying to intercept the army when it pushed forward towards the 5th base on the right-hand side. Zest anticipated the Terran army going in that direction, but it was not the case. And because of that, the Disruptors were exposed, the Colossi were exposed, and all of the high-value units of Protals fell immediately without that Stalker support. Very close game there. I hope you enjoyed watching. If you did, make sure you hit that like button down below. If you want to see more, consider hitting that subscribe button as well if you enjoy the content. Of course, if you don't, I mean, you don't have to. It's completely optional. Anyways, for now, I want to thank you for watching. Have an amazing day. Do not forget to smile, alright? And I will see you once again in the next one.